I greet you all, fellow astronauts, and I invite you today as astronauts of Dream Space to journey with me into the future that you envision for yourself, for your neighbors, and for your community. I want you to begin by asking yourself, who is the freest version of me? What does this person look like? What does this person sound like? Where does he or she live? Where does he or she work? What does he or she enjoy? And then I want you to expand this question to your community and ask, what is the ideal version of your community? What does this place look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? How do people in this place relate to one another? What's the energy of this place? What's the vibe? Let me tell you what my vision of an ideal future for myself, for us as a people, even our continent, looks like. It's a future that is founded on love, unity, and progress, but not as some fancy slogans or buzzwords, but a genuine investment in the spiritual, mental, and evolution of each and every person. It's a future that is premised on a connection to the past, that values the cultural specificities that define us, and works to ensure that these are honored, even as we move forward in time. And I don't know, maybe some of your futures, maybe what some of you saw tallies with what I just spoke about. But in any case, what we have just done is the first step of a process that I call staying in the energy of your dreams. This first step of this process is called defining the dream. And staying in the energy of your dreams is a moment-by-moment birthing, creation of the life that you desire for yourself. I believe that at every moment of our lives, we are creating our future. And we do this by the actions that we take, the thoughts that we think, the words that we speak, the things we listen to. And so this process of staying in the energy of your dreams is making sure that we are creating our future with intention, with our highest ideal in mind. So we've defined the dream. That's the first step. The second step is aligning our current reality with the dream. And there are many ways of doing this. There are many ways of staying in the energy of your dream. But today I want to talk about the digital space as a tool for defining the dream and aligning with the dream. Before I start talking about the digital space, I want us to all be on the same page. And I want us to leave behind the conventional definitions of technology as software and AI and programming languages and all of that. And take this definition of the digital, which works for me. The digital is, I see it as a portal for dreaming. I see it as a space in which our wildest hopes and dreams can come alive in some way. This is because it's such a formless space. It's such a borderless space. And so we are able to create some sort of tangible representation of things that otherwise would be intangible hopes or dreams. I think of it as the hallucinatory in-between space. Between the dreams that we have and our reality, it is a space in which they can meet. And so, bearing this definition in mind, how can we create digital spaces that serve our envisioned ideal African future? And how can these spaces indeed accelerate the manifestation of this future in our current reality? Well, I've outlined 3 steps that I think can help us create digital spaces that enable us to dream de-colonial futures, liberated futures for ourselves, for our people, and for our continent at large. And incidentally enough, these 3 steps involve some time traveling. That's the theme of this talk. Some time traveling to the future, to the past, and then coming to the present. So the first step, we start by traveling to the future. And what we do in the future is define the dream. Because you cannot actualize what you can't visualize. So the visualization is the very important first step. And that's what we did at the beginning of this session. And so after defining the dream, we travel to the past to look for what inspiration we can find to help us actualize the dream. I termed this Sankofa energy, inspired by the Sankofa bird in Akan mythology, which has its feet facing forward, but its long neck turning to the back. symbolizing that we have to look back to what has come before us to inform the journey that is ahead of us. And so this is an important question to ask. And I think it's ever more important for us as Africans because the key, in my opinion, the key to our future, to our prosperity as a continent and as a people lies in our past. And so with respect to the digital space, I like to look at what I call ancestral modalities of technology, which is just ways that our ancestors coded and made sense of the world around them. And there's so many examples of this. We can look to Ifa divination as an example, which you can think of as an indigenous system of coding for archiving and retrieving information from the vast knowledge base of the Yoruba people. You can think of proverbs as a form of coding through language. Because each proverb, what a proverb really is a vast library of information that is condensed into a short statement that people can easily remember, easily pass across, but that also summarizes the beliefs and the worldviews of a people. You can look at cloth weaving, like our Akwete cloth weaving, for example, as a form of coding through cloth, because the patterns in the cloth, the technique, they all symbolize something. They all carry meaning. You can even look at hair braiding as a form of coding through hair, because those patterns and those techniques also carry signification. And these examples abound throughout our history. Our ancestors were always sorting, always categorizing, always coding, but in the most poetic ways. And then from this point, we've traveled to the future, we've traveled to the past, we come back to the present and think about how we can employ what we've learned in the creating of digital spaces now. And I think this is important because my definition of presence is gratitude for what we've left behind and faith in what we have to, in what we're looking forward to. So the present moment is where gratitude and faith meet. And there's some examples of digital creations that I think do a good job of bringing the future and the past into the present. One is the Oracle app developed by Kudusoni Keku and his Q-Dance company. And it is an app that uses an algorithm based on Ifa divination to create a software program that people can explore and that has relevance even in our modern day. Another example, this is a shameless plug, is a product that my team and I are working on. It's called Achebe's Internet. And it's trying to conceive of an artificial intelligence model that is based on the wisdom that's found in Proverbs. So how can we generate new proverbs through AI? How can we feed AI with proverbial data that informs its functionality and its use? And I think if we can follow these 3 steps, then we have a clear idea of where we're going, but we also have tools that can serve as compasses, as guides, and can lay out the roadmap for us to get there. Because the journey is long, but our road is good. Our road will be good. So, as I leave you, I want to put 2 things in your takeaway pack as you leave this talk. 2 questions for you. The first is, knowing what we've talked about concerning the potency of the digital space, how can you, within this current digital moment, use the digital products around you, your habits within this era of technology, in service of your highest ideal, knowing that this is a space that drives manifestation, that drives the actualization of dreams, ideas, hopes. How can you tap into the power of this space to create your own future, dream futures, envision futures? And the second question, is probably more important than the first, is I want to impress upon all of us the role and the responsibility that we all have as African world builders. Because I truly believe that we are deciding the future. We have the right to decide the future, and we have the ability to decide the future, no matter what anyone thinks or says, or no matter what evidence to the contrary exists within the current moment. And I believe that if we properly consider these 2 questions, this is how we will bring about a slow but steady and sure metamorphosis of the present moment into the future that we desire. And this is how we become the African gods and goddesses that God has created us to be. And so, my dear Afronauts, I want to leave you with this pledge. I was thinking of making you stand up, but let's stay seated. But please, can you put your right hand in the air and say this pledge with me? Please repeat after me. Eh? Wait, we're going to say it. We're going to talk about it. So please repeat after me. I am an African world builder. I get to decide the future. I have the tools at my disposal to shape my reality. I'm staying in the energy of my dreams. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.